I don't know. I'm gonna press these buttons. These like buttons that make us unmuted, and this button that just. So hi everybody, welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is a little later today, just scheduling and stuff. It's September 10th, 2022. Joining me today is just Sal, who's nice enough to join me for today's discussions. So, thank you for joining me. All right then.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring Kansas purposefully, just to be clear.
We can dive right into this docket then, I guess.
Yeah, the docket that I criticized you for, because I tried to Google the stuff ahead of time, and it was like Batman exclamation point. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Okay, so I will admit some of these my topics, at least this time, could have been a little better the way I look. Sometimes they work good, sometimes they don't. I'm going to say this is not work good. Also, I forgot to click on this link for Momo, so I'm going to screw up the stream for a second by throwing myself over into general and clicking on this link so it opens up somewhere else and swinging us back to Discord normally. Because honestly, I just forgot to open that. Which is my bad. Anyway. So yes. We'll be talking about the Steve Jackson's Munchkin puts out the Batman game, which I kind of talked a little bit about with Momo, but it's fully released now. There's another giant miniature by Wizkids for Big Old Dragon. Emergence, a sci-fi tabletop RPG with a real-time aspect to it. The Fox Experiment. Wastes of Chaos. Conan, they're doing a basically Age of Conan source book, and of course, there is, what is this called here? Lorcana, a trading card game by Disney.
Yeah. Still can't find the Conan one.
It's the Age of Conan source book. You could look it up on Modifius. Yeah, that should be able to find you. It's technically the newest product in the Conan line in Modifius. But Modifius is good in certain ways when it comes to their website and terrible in other ways. While if you're not in their new product section, it doesn't put things by age a lot of times. It puts things by relevance when you go into things like Conan. So you're like, what's the newest one? That's the main book. Thank you. That's good to look for. It's not what I'm interested in. And I have trouble sometimes. Don't mind me. Anyway, what was I saying? Munchkin, let's talk about Munchkin. Yeah, just for a second. Look, this one's at least half interesting. I have my complaints about there's a Munchkin for everything, but at least this one, it's like the idea is you're playing one of the supervillains that is, you're fighting Batman instead. That's different. Is it different enough? Have you played a lot of Munchkin? It's been out forever.
I own Munchkin.
Mm-hmm.
I've played Munchkin twice.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't find it that fun, so that's about it.
The thing about Munchkin is, I feel like it's fine. Like, I don't mind it. It was a lot more fun when it first came out. But the thing is, as it's gone on, it's sort of like this catch-22 of, like, I remember the original fun I had with people, and, their quirkiness can only get you so far, I guess is what it is. And there's just been a billion versions of it, and I feel like, I don't know, the longer it goes on, the more I'm like at this weird point in time of like, I don't feel like we need a lot of these, but they keep making them, and...
Whoa. It's about the money.
I know.
How else are they gonna survive if they don't produce 10 bajillion different variations?
And a lot of their main things, like this one, was up on Kickstarter. They use that as an excuse for we can make more of them. Their Kickstarters make money. Why not make more?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's probably worth it if they put enough time and work into like the art differences and whatnot. then it's mostly fine. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just my question is who's the market, right? I mean, like, I guess that, DC fans, right? Munchkin likers.
Yeah.
But like, are people like, I don't know. I don't have a lot of board games, but do people like? I'm trying to think. If I own Monopoly, right?
Yes.
I'm not gonna go and buy the Batman Monopoly if
Yes.
I already own Monopoly, even if I like Batman. That seems weird.
Now, the thing about Munchkin, which worked very early on and doesn't work now, is, in the original way they said it is, you can play with all the Munchkins together. So when they had, like, just original fantasy Munchkin, the space Munchkin, and, like, the Kung Fu Munchkin, which I think were the first three, you could shuffle the decks together and deal them out as one big thing, and they work together. They're all compatible with each other. You can't do that now. Now, this is something that I did see one time, which made multiple decks possible, is you have all the decks laid out, and people choose what they choose, what they want. Like, if someone's favorite is space, they might all draw the cards from space, while someone else is drawing the cards from some other one, That works too. But the thing is, there's so many of them, and they are, as you said, pretty much the same. It's like the same concepts. There's been a few variations, but like there really isn't many nowadays, and those variations are just reused a lot at this point. Like, they had those variations early on, and then it's just the same old thing again. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, as with what happens with popular, like, things in the gaming community, you're just gonna produce as much as you possibly can to continue making money.
Yeah, it's definitely reached, like, a money level a lot of times. Like, and it's like, the thing is, like, I feel bad because, like, if this was the only if they had, like, one Munchkin product a year, they've been out for, like, 20 years, 20 Munchkins, I would have been okay with that a lot more. Like, if this was our release for the year, Batman Munchkin, and it's, you're playing the villains going against Batman. That seems interesting. This is like one of those ones that if it was those early days of Munchkin, I would be like, sure, that seems neat. But the problem is, we're, like, overloaded with so much stuff now because they put out, like, 2 or 3 of these a year. I can't keep up with it. I don't want to keep up with it anymore. It burned me out.
I mean, yeah, they have like 9 pages of products.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I guess it is from 2012 or whatever.
The original Munchkin's like early 2000s. I remember we got it like right around the time 3rd edition came out. That's how old it is.
Munchkin demo seemed to have the rigged demo. I don't know. Listen, it's hard to figure out. This website has the worst organization possible. It doesn't sort things by date. It doesn't sort things by name. It doesn't sort things by price. It doesn't. I don't know how it sorts anything.
Steve Jackson Games doesn't sort anything. Look, I'm going to tell you that. It just doesn't. Let's see here. Okay, the original Munchkin on Board Game Geek came out in 2001.
Holy shit. I was barely alive.
That's how old Munchkin is. And I was there for the first one. And again, like, I wasn't there, like, at 2001, I've got to admit. I think it was a little later than that when my friend group got into it. But still, we did. God. Just shows how... It just makes me feel old, too, also. That's been so long, and they've got
it's
billion
okay,
fucking versions of it.
I can make you feel old, don't worry.
Yeah, it's one of your jobs. It's like,
It is my duty to just make you feel like a boomer.
it's like I'm not that old, but I feel that old. Damn it.
I do it to everyone.
Yeah. Look, you have youthful energy. Don't worry. Give it a decade. Life will sap it from you.
Dude, that's where you're wrong. Okay? You assume too much.
Mm. Yep. But I mean, like, again, if you don't have a lot of Munchkins, this one looks like an interesting one. If you like Batman or Munchkin a lot, and you can buy a lot of these, maybe it's up your alley. I just, like, it's just this I don't know about this at this point in time. Like, I feel bad because it's like, this is a good product by Steve Jackson Games in my eyes, but they do a lot of bad products too. So it's sort of like, I want to encourage them to do more. It's like USAopoly. You know, for every, like, one decent game, they give us, like, 7 monopolies and a clue from, I don't know, something stupid. You know, anyway. I want to talk about something I'm going to be happier about. This adult blue shadow dragon. Is that a thing now? I thought they were just shadow dragons, or they make shadow dragon like a template for things.
Is it? I know shadow dragons as a second edition form of dragon that probably exists in 3.5 and Pathfinder.
Yeah, they do. But they might have put them out with, was it Fizbins who did all the dragons?
They did gem dragons. I don't think they did other types of dragons.
Yeah, they call it an adult blue shadow dragon.
Shadow dragon? 5e?
How big are you? I don't have.
Oh, in Fizbins they have shadow dragons.
Ah.
Oh, they have a young red shadow dragon in the monster. But I think that's a template, as you were suggesting.
Yeah, it's as close to a template as they have nowadays. They're just like, it's sort of a template, but we don't actually have templates. I mean, this is pre-orders for this thing, but, like, again...
Oh.
It's one of these things. Wizkids does these, like, crazy things that are, like, big and crazy for all these, like, miniatures.
Where do you see this shadow dragon? Is that like a model? Because I'm seeing like the.
I put the Wizkids pre-order link into the.
Oh, I was looking at the website. Talk about it. That is why.
Yeah. It's pre-order until next year. I mean, it looks cool. I'm going to admit that, and they have it like flying on the little acrylic stand thing.
The King of Terrors. Is that what it says?
Just trying to look at
open image and new tab.
Yeah.
The icon of the realms. Is there a iconic Faerunian adult blue shadow dragon?
No, I don't know.
Then how is it called Icons of the Realm?
It's their product line. It's the product line that they've been doing. Yeah, they keep doing these like dragons or other stuff that they've been doing big old miniatures for. Like they did like a ancient red dragon that was pretty big. They've done Tiamat, which I remember was Tiamat's $400.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Tiamat was $400 on this product line.
You don't have to say it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But it's 14 inches tall with a 28-inch wingspan. And this one, I don't know how big it is. They don't actually tell you, but it's $100.
Okay. The shadow template just seems like it replaces the breath of a shadow breath, and the damage immunity it stays the same, but you add necrotic.
They're just like, they're dragons born in the Shadowfell and have been like transformed by it into like shadow dragons. Grr.
Yeah.
It's a dragon template. Grr.
Some weird stuff.
Look, the Icons of the Realm from Wizkids it's a neat line. They have a lot of really cool things. I never have the money for these things. God, I forgot they did the Tarask.
They are quite expensive.
I mean, there's the releasing third quarter, this quarter, 2022, the Icon of the Realms Tarask for $400. That's, gargantuan. I just had that looks pretty cool. Look, it's a cool product line. And if you have the money for it, great, but...
Yeah, if you got the money for it.
Premium nerd products is a thing. It's cool looking. And I guess 100's a lot more affordable than some of the others. So I'll throw out this Reemergence, because I thought it was interesting, because it's really that they've got a real-time aspect that they claim to the game.
Yeah, that reminds me of, like, the TTRPG called Hackmaster, I think.
Yes, I forgot about Hackmaster.
Because everything takes place, like, everything is, like, all actions are taking place over seconds.
Yeah.
So, like, if you swing your sword, it takes, like, 6 seconds or whatever. Yeah. And then your next action is in the next 6 seconds. So, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. It's got space time system allows to wait for a turn, allows hard octane combat. The thing about it is like, I feel like the curious part about me is how are they managing it in a TTRPG system that usually requires a lot more choice and, like, I feel like it's the thing of me as me, I know what I'm capable of naturally and I can just do it. So I'm better at reacting to stuff. Me as my character, maybe I'm lucky enough to remember what my character can do. How many times do we forget our spells or something?
I would think how it works more like is like if there's like an initiative roll, or it's probably not a roll, right? You probably have like an initiative score about what seconds you act on first, right? And then if you take an action that takes 10 seconds or whatever, something like that, 10 ticks, then you're concentrating on that for 10 ticks, And then so like a movement could be a tick, or 2 ticks or 3 ticks. And that's, like, probably how it rotates.
Yeah. The thing is, like, they give some basic information, like, it's like it's good for 3 to 6 players. They say 8 to 12 plus. They try to, like, give some basics here. They're saying, like, I guess... Is that a session, they think, like, where an adventure will take 30 minutes to 4 hours? I don't know. The art style's interesting, not terrible. I mean, again, I'm very curious how well they did that system. I think that's what draws me in.
Yeah, that's the roughest one. Is a fluid system can be very not fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Because in practice,
it's a timer. And that can create that thing is like, yes, it can create a fast-paced experience, but it can also create extra stress that's not needed. And
I have played GURPS before, and that's supposed to be you only do like one thing a turn, but it was super bogged down because of how the actions work. No, pretty rough.
I think it's sort of like, you can get like very fluid combat in something like 5e or Pathfinder, but you can also get it very bogged down sometime because it's sort of like it's an evolving situation and you have to evolve your choices sometimes. And when you're not 100% familiar with everything you have as a choice, it takes you a minute to review my choices for, updating it. Sort of like, oh, that spell's not going to work again. What spell or ability am I going to use now? Crap, which ones do I have? So I don't know. If it's simple and it works, great. But if you want to check it out, it's on Kickstarter. It's not funded yet. They want a lot for their funding, so I don't know if they'll make it, honestly. It's just started, so they've got some time to go, but I'm not sure. Might have to keep an eye on that one and see how well it spikes up. Then we can hit up chatting about this thing here, the Fox experiment. So I technically chose this because it was called the Fox experiment more than anything, but it's I think it's supposed to be based on the experiments with foxes they were doing in, I think, like around Siberia.
The Soviet Union, yeah.
Yeah, where they're
or
trying to
Russia.
Yeah, I'm not sure which it was because I can't remember
what time period.
Yeah, I can't remember how long ago it was. They were trying to make like domestic foxes, basically.
Yeah, and it slightly worked.
Yeah. I mean, like, given enough time, they theoretically could have come up with a domestic fox, probably. They showed off that it was, like, a possibility. But certainly, their experiments only lasted for a certain period of time, and that doesn't help get the, everything together. As for the board game here, it's Pandasaurus Games. They're a pretty good name in board games. They do a bunch of them. It is funded already. And you're going to be... hi, Momo. Don't riot. I'm talking about foxes without you. Take that. And Lightning. But Lightning had to go do stuff. You're trying to breed domestic foxes as a gameplay mechanic. Yes.
Oh God.
Oh God, we summoned them.
No. They have some of their. What I hate the most in any board game is a reliance on anything dry erase, because that shit's it gets destroyed.
Yeah.
They have at least they have a lot of them. They have 48 dry erase markable pup cards, but I think that's like how you track a bunch of stuff for the game. It looks like.
Oh.
And that's just like a recipe for horribly smudged up cards.
It's like it's a direction you can take for that kind of thing, but like just pad and paper, and just be like, you can always just use paper afterwards or something.
Yeah, I always hate stuff with dry erase because I just think it's always it always is horrible at the end of the day.
Dry erase has some issues technically. No, I don't. Look, if you're trying to breed like sexy kitsune lady, then you're doing the wrong kind of science. I'm going to tell you that, you two. So someone bonk Lightning and Momo chat. I don't have a bonk thing. I'm gonna spam them with like, I don't know, my fail dice. There you go. Enjoy those. Anyway. I don't think that works. Whatever. I don't care.
No, I don't know what you're trying to do. You're...
I'm trying. Oh, there we go. There's some bonking. Anyway. So it's like you're breeding foxes to try to get domestic ones. You get 5 rounds. Trying to do the best. If you ever... What's this? Studies... game ends for 5 rounds, and you'll gain points for pleasing patrons, studies completed, and if you've ever won the Friendliest Fox Award, upgrading on your personal player board, extra tokens. Like the most points wins. So it's like you win points by doing stuff, and I'm guessing your dice rolls and what you can choose, and like different cards and stuff, give you options to work with to build points. So that style of gameplay, I've seen it a bunch. So
yeah, that's a pretty typical way of doing scoring.
Yeah. So it's got 80 dice. You couldn't use these dice in anything else, it looks like, but there's 80 of them. That's a lot of dice.
They're not like proper D6s. They're weird D6s.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. It's certainly. I didn't expect this as like a topic for a game, but
I mean, it's fair enough, I guess. I mean,
yeah, it's not terrible.
Cute. They get some nice fox art.
Yeah.
So
the Fox Experiment. They do have like the normal game and a 5 to 6 player expansion. So neat. And they're getting a bunch of stretch goals and stuff at this point in time. Was it 55 for the base game? Yeah, 55 for the base game. 60 for the base game and stretch goals. 100 for the base game, stretch goals, 5 to 6 player expansion, and neoprene playmats. So those are the kind of basics if you're looking for that Kickstarter. You can talk about Wastes of Chaos. done by, I think this is Kobold?
Kobold Press, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just... It's stuff I want from 5e, and Kobold Press provides it when Wizards doesn't. They provide monsters, they provide classes, and more spells, and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't need Pathfinder options. I just need more than you give me sometimes. But, so this is like, I'm trying to read, I'm like reading their, like, introduce the Wastes of Chaos, the Tales of Waste, spreading the strongholds of chaos, the secrets of Doombringers, the vile cult of the Black Goat, the madding magic of chaos, in a complete package. I'm like, what are you giving us?
Yeah, so...
That's a lot of words that I don't think mean anything of what you're giving me.
Well, it says half the book is rules, including general magic items, virile items, ancient magic, chaos spells, chaos, and cult monsters, and then character options.
Okay.
So it seems like they might be including a way of figuring out making like general items or something. Virile seems probably like the setting specific thing.
Yeah.
Ancient magic, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Cool, like old magic that's more powerful than you can cast as like a single person. Chaos spells, I have no inkling of what that means, but it's called Waste of Chaos.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess figure it out, right? And then evil, chaos, and cult monsters.
You know what?
And then obviously you always give player options because it's just like...
Yeah.
It's fun.
And then some campaign setting stuff, some extra, like, location stuff, NPCs and organizations that it could be themed. I feel like, now that I'm reading it more, it's basically like, we want to do something very, maybe feels a little bit more Cthulhu-y, with being general instead of it's oops all Cthulhu again. You know, because Cthulhu is supposed to represent, you know, ancient gods, chaos, madness, and stuff. So they're doing a little bit of like, yeah, we're doing that kind of thing, but we're not doing what everybody does. We're doing a general thing you can just use. Which I guess is technically better in a way, honestly, because it's just not the same old stuff again. No more oops all Cthulhu.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what they are... like, what the concept is.
Yeah.
It just...
I'm looking at their table of contents and trying to understand it.
You know what it feels like? It feels like the concept is very, like... Ooh, what's a good example? I don't have a good example. I think, you know, you watch Game of Thrones?
Not a lot.
Okay, but you know the giant wall in the north? Right? It'd be like if people went and did expeditions past the wall to find, like, magic. And it was, like, crazy shit, so it seems like.
Yeah. That can make sense. So, I mean, like, you know, they've got a lot of, like, you know, they got monsters, magic, items, magic items, a lot of stuff. It's pretty decent options, it seems, for that kind of concept they're hitting at. And plenty of it.
There is a table of contents they have provided.
Yeah. I was looking at it, reading it a little bit there. I'm trying to understand it a little bit more.
There's ancient magic, chaos spells, and doom magic.
Doom magic. How many people are going to take doom magic? It's like, stop using doom magic. No.
I'm a Doonomancer.
Yeah, Doomomancer. Yes, lightning, doom.
It's eternal.
It's eternal. And they have a troll necromancer as a monster.
That's terrible. Why would you do that?
I don't know. They also have robots in there. Eldritch Horror, a Ruins Drake, the Dreadwalker, Flesh Golem, Child of the Silver Spear. These are cool sounding names, but it's also like...
Saber Tooth Bat.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Momo made a nice joke. Thank you.
Hey, that was a great plan. It worked out.
All our plans worked out. Don't worry about it. I would be interested in what the race and class options are, honestly, because they don't really go into those very much in the table of contents. They're just like, we got some, and some backgrounds. Don't worry about it. They're there.
Well, every 5 ebooks adds player options.
Yeah. It's true. It's options. You know, if you're interested, certainly, Waste of Chaos. I'd say check it out. It's funded, so it's one of those ones you can get. And I think, let's see, what's the PDF is $29, and that gives you the PDF and shared tabletop licenses for Wastes and Tales, because I guess they're doing the Waste of Chaos license and the Tales of Wastes license. Oh, okay. So I think that means you can, like, if they're, because they're on some of the.
It's a platform with an S. I don't know what that platform is though.
It looks as though they do have Fantasy Grounds and Roll20 though that they're going to be up on.
But those are, you have to buy those with the Tails and weight. Those are like $85 because the S, it says like
Shard
right above
Tabletop.
Shard? What the hell is that?
Oh, Shard Tabletop.
What is that?
I don't know what Shard Tabletop is. It must be another, you know.
I've never heard of it.
Featural
The
tabletop.
best way to play D&D 5e virtually or in person. That's probably not true.
I mean, you know, it's another virtual tabletop, I think. It just looks like this is the one that, like, Kobold Press supports more.
Well, more like, I think it's probably the one that doesn't charge a ton of money to have stuff on it, because the way Roll20 or Fantasy Ground works, you have to buy a license for their product separately, so that's why they have to charge more.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but those are there too, and if you want them, you know.
It's an option.
It's an option, and you can get hardcover stuff if you really want. Those books exist.
Alright. No.
So does Conan. I don't play MMOs. I'm going to say that first. It was one of those things that I never was up for. And I think Age of Conan isn't that one of the Conan MMO, and it's very jank and kind of silly, but has had like some popularity because it's jank and silly.
Is that still around?
Maybe? I think it is.
I don't I mean, it might have been... I don't remember what the game is called.
Age of Conan. It's just the Age of Conan.
It's not on Steam. Age of... It's Unchained.
Oh, it's Unchained now.
2013, it has mixed reviews.
2008 apparently was the first one that took place. Is it still going? I don't know. It was 2013 when it was released on Steam, apparently. Yeah, okay. Age of Conan is still popular and has a dick slider. Yeah, dick size slider. Yeah. You can discard resize most body parts. Okay.
There's like Arc.
It's like Arc, except stupider. Because I gotta be honest, like, Arc had a lot of weird sliders so you can make weird bulbous monstrosities. But I mean, like, I don't think they, like, you know, also include the fact that you'd be naked first. They're like, you have at least, you know, like, you know, what is it, like, waistcloth or something. Good luck on that one. You got a loincloth. Enjoy. Yeah, I heard it was pretty terrible, but apparently, like, it is popular, which is, like, one of those weird things. It's jank, popular jank, I guess. Okay, the new thing was optional.
Well, it's dead on Steam at least, because it averages, like, 50 players. No, from an MMO, that's pretty dead. But I don't know if they have other servers that aren't 50.
They might. I don't know. It might also be more private stuff rather than, like, larger servers, too. That might be the way to switch to.
Do you really count the game as alive if it's only living on private servers?
I don't know at that point in time. Yeah, that's a good question.
I wouldn't. I think the classification has to be when it's run by the hosting company.
That's true. I mean, like, there are plenty. It's like become games like. Oops, Up's Wrong Age. Is there a different one then?
Oh, is there a different one? Oh, I don't know. I'm just going off what Tanta said.
Yeah, I thought it was this one, but there might be different. Conan Exiles is the current one, so it replaced it. Oh, yeah, so this is the one before Conan Exiles. And, apparently people liked it enough that they're getting a source book of information based on what was in the game for the Conan RPG? I guess?
Can't I find Conan Exiles? Why are you hiding? Oh, it's because I have it excluded from my preferences. Getting ads for it. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember people talking about this game.
Okay, that's the one we're thinking about. I don't know. It's like one of those things is like, if it's been a while is the problem. It obviously seems that way. Like,
it's huge. It's 36,000 people on average.
Okay, Conan Exiles is pretty popular. Like, I guess what happened is, like, that's the new game. This was the game before it, kind of thing. So the Age of Conan was the big game before.
I mean, it's got to be something to it, right? Oh, when it launched, yeah, but I mean, there's at least enough content for 36,000 people to be playing it on average.
It's Arc with NPCs.
Arc.
So you fight people that speak to you instead of just dinosaurs all the time.
Damn, Arc also averages a lot of players.
I can understand. Sometimes it's fun just to punch a dinosaur. I liked Arc. Arc had a lot of issues. I had fun when I played it.
I don't like Arc.
It was fine. I uninstalled it because it took up so much space. I had it installed for the longest time. I can understand also not liking Arc. Like, Arc is like the worst part of a lot of survival games. I would say, unfortunately.
But there's a tabletop source book of Conan, and the only thing I know of Conan is that my dad really likes Conan. He used to. He has really old comics that are older than me.
Whew.
So
Conan comics, I just respect to that though. But yeah, I mean, like, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are fine. There was an animated series in the 90s, which I actually liked a lot, which was pretty fun. It was very stupid and very, like, the age of Saturday morning cartoons, but it was fun. It's still fine. So, I mean, like, not like there's bad Conan stuff. And certainly they've put out a lot of products for this brand. I think back in the old day of this show, I was joking with Joe that every couple of weeks they'd throw out, or months, they'd throw out Conan takes a new job, because apparently in the original books they just had him doing like fuck everything. It's sort of like, Conan's doing this week, I don't know, but I guess the MMO was popular enough to get a source book on it. I don't know. Shall we talk about a Disney tradable card game?
Yeah, we can.
I only have this because it's been announced. I have the Polygon article that Momo linked me to, so I'll put this up here. I don't know if there's any other links in here. Is it supposed to be like another, like, Magic the Gathering? If you want to hop in, Momo, and can talk about it a little bit, go ahead, because I have no idea what the heck this is much.
Hello, my friend.
Hi.
Who's this?
I have to go into the right... Oh, that's right, I have to fix you... turn you on? Does it remember you correctly?
There you go. That's the 4.
Yeah, but for whatever reason it's remembering the wrong thing. That's not correct also. I'll figure it out.
Oh, that's the Discord.
Yeah. Well, it's like Discord updated, so it's like it's thinking of... It changed the titles of Discord stuff now, so I have to, like, redo the scenes.
I've broken the stream. You're welcome, chat.
Yeah. So, what do you know about this weird
Hi.
thing?
So Disney, in conjunction with Ravensburger, which is a tabletop company, have announced Lorcana, which is literally, and I mean literally, mechanically identical to Magic the Gathering in just about every way, except it has two key differences. It has Disney art, and the keywords are much worse.
I mean, it doesn't look like it has. Does it have mana in the same way?
It will, because the cost will basically be mana. It is structured almost identically to a Magic the Gathering card. It is essentially it's Disney Magic the Gathering. We don't know how it will mechanically play yet, like fully, but judging by the card layouts, very similar to every trading card game in existence. And I don't know why this exists, or needs to.
Money.
So I'll be real honest. The main pool of Magic the Gathering in Pokemon, you can make more things up. Can you do that with Disney? Not really.
I mean, go ahead.
Here's where you've made the fatal mistake. Disney owns Marvel, Star Wars, and how many other products? We're gonna see
Fox.
a Tony Stark card. We're gonna see Tony Stark, Iron Man. We're gonna see Captain America,
Alien Queen. They own it.
Here's why I don't think that will happen. Aside from Marvel, though Disney owns those, they don't brand them as Disney.
That's true.
Disney has a very specific branding and appeal to family-friendly things, which means maybe we'll see a Marvel set. But beyond that, I don't really think they can do that much. We might see Marvel and Star Wars, and that's kind of it.
I mean, they don't own. I mean, what else do they even own?
Kingdom Hearts is Konami, I believe, or Square Enix, so they don't actually own Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, like Square rented the licenses for making their game, but owns the game itself proper.
They could do it in conjunction with Square Enix. However, the only time Square Enix has ever released a card game, I believe, is in the 90s when they released a Triple Triad card game for one set, and then threw it in the trash because they didn't want to deal with it anymore.
There is a Final Fantasy collectible card game. It's actually got a lot. You know, I've seen stuff on it before.
In good old Western world, though,
I don't think it comes really to the West very much.
No, it's a Japanese only thing.
Yeah.
The only time the West got one was a single set of Triple Triad for Final Fantasy VIII, I think.
I mean, they're I guess you could do variations on the same card kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they have enough IPs to do a couple of sets, but also this article is weird because nowhere in the press release does Disney mention Magic the Gathering. I don't believe they're actually trying to compete with Magic the Gathering. I think they're just making a card game.
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably.
But it's probably mechanically just going to be another TCG. Not too dissimilar to Magic, because fun fact, Magic the Gathering was the first trading card game, and the industry has had those mechanics as the standard ever since.
Yeah, but they're technically, I did research on this. There have been earlier trading card games. They were bad.
Yeah. Magic the Gathering was the first modern one. It's the first one I caught on. Before that, you had some bad ones in baseball cards.
Yeah, there were some bad ones. I was actually at one point for my YouTube channel was working through the history of CCGs and just talking about some of those weird ones because there are a bunch of really weird experimental CCGs.
Fun fact: Magic the Gathering was originally going to be called Mana Clash.
Glad it wasn't called that.
And
Wizards of the Coast was founded in some dude's basement to sell this card game.
It kind of was, wasn't it? Yep. History has interesting things, but now we've got.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the Disney convention,
the D23,
you can buy the Mickey Mouse card.
Yeah.
If you really want to. But I think it's You can get the whole set. Will be like $50, so it's not gonna be a massive thing yet.
It's not gonna be.
It's only a couple of cards right now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be probably more collectible that you can play card games with, like Pokemon
it's a collectible
cards.
thing.
Yeah, it'll probably be more like the stuff they do with Fantasy Flight, where they're less like they're collective. The sets are more. This is the set. That's it. Rather than having packs that you have randomized chains.
Yeah, I mean, because like a lot of things have gotten trading card games. World of Warcraft had a trading card game. I remember collecting cards from it. Mm-hmm. Munchkin had one, technically.
Oh, Munchkin had one. It was swept under the rug.
Munchkin technically had a TCG.
No, I think I've talked about it on the show, but like Joe and I, one time we were going to PAX Unplugged. We were on the train. We got in a conversation with someone else going to PAX Unplugged because, it was like the second day and they noticed our badges and they struck up a conversation. It's like, oh, I'm going to the convention too. We talked with them. They're like, they were a person that was into the Munchkin trading card game. And like they were like, yeah, I was going to events and stuff, and then they just stopped all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, the TCG just vanished off the face of the earth.
They cut all like the plans. They stopped production. They were just like, yep, this experiment's done.
The reason I'm kind of fine with Disney doing this is Disney has often been stuck in a complacency of doing nothing new. And this happens throughout Disney's history. In the 90s, they made nothing but terrible direct-to-video sequels. Then they made terrible live-action movies, and now they're still doing terrible live-action movies again. So this is a sign that maybe they're going to try new stuff again. Will it work? I don't know, but it's something new at least.
I guess it's that thing that because they're such a huge source of the like entertainment, and I have to be honest, it's one of those things that a lot of stuff from Disney I still like. It's like I'm not the kind of person that would get tired of like honestly, it would take a lot for me to like really get tired of like a lot of Marvel stuff. Probably some of the stuff I'm not gonna like and want to rewatch it or ever again. But it's like that was kind of a lot of my childhood, so I like that stuff. You can't really go wrong with it. For me, a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, I have Marvel fatigue, apparently just because there's so much of it. But I have fatigue of, like, Star Wars because there's so much of it, and I actually like Star Wars.
I think it's something interesting someone said recently that I was talking about. It's like, fatigue is not a thing that you get culturally, it's individually kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, culturally, these things are still very popular, but me personally, I'm a little fatigued from the amount of content that gets released.
I know, like, a lot of people, like, like me, I might get like, this is too much to watch in one point in time. But again, like, then it's sort of like, I give it a couple of months and I can go back to it,
It's like, also has to do with the way they announce stuff. And this is something that came up very recently with switching kind of back to this Magic the Gathering, where they announced like 10 sets in one press conference. That was very fatiguing for me, because I'm like, this is just too much content to announce at once, guys. This shit won't be out for like 5 years. Why are you announcing it now?
I don't mind when they announce like what's coming out next year. Like that I don't mind. Like if you're a year in advance, that's not too bad. Because it's sort of like, that's like, hey, here's the next 4 sets. This is the one that we're talking about. This one now. You can know the names of the next 3 after that, and maybe the next one after the one we're putting out soon. We got like some images for, so you have an idea what it's looking like. That wasn't so bad. Now they're like, down.
Now they're doing the Disney thing of here's a graphic with like 10 announcements on it.
I mean, listen. Have you seen Bethesda? Yeah, games are coming out 10 years later.
Hey,
it's coming out.
We know exactly one thing about Elder Scrolls 6. It'll have a mountain in it.
Oh my god. It'll be with a coast. The landmass will have coasts.
It's gonna be fucking High Rock, probably.
High Rock and Hammer for that.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh god.
It's gonna have mountains, so you can horse your way up the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Did you know that Elder Scrolls is a card game?
Yes.
It's bad. Fun fact.
Yes.
It's been a while since I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like TCGs, they come out for various IPs, and then they're supported, or they're popular for like a year, and then they kind of die. It's just they don't gain traction. I don't think this will gain that much traction unless they're doing a digital release along with it. If they're doing a digital game as well, I think then it will gain enough traction to stick around. But if not, I don't think people are gonna care about it much in 2 years outside of the collector value of the cards.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We're just gonna have to see what it is, how the game actually works, and things like that. It's a fine thing. It's like, it's like, okay, they're doing that product, neat, good for them. I'm not complaining about it, but I'm not also, honestly, I don't feel like I'm the target person for this.
I'll be honest, I have seen maybe like 3 Disney movies in my entire life.
I saw a lot in my youth. Not really any much more in it nowadays.
I have seen Aladdin, Aristocrats, and space boat movie Treasure Planet. I think that was Disney. Those are 3 I've seen in my entire life.
That might have been Disney. Treasure Planet.
Yes, I think I might have seen parts of Atlantis as well.
I can name a lot of them. It's definitely like some of them that I would be like. There's like, ones that I thought were neat that like honestly also didn't go very well. Like honestly, I saw The Black Cauldron. That thing is nightmare fuel.
Mm. Yeah, I have never seen The Lion King, the movie. However, I have seen the Broadway musical.
Lion King movies.
Interesting.
Movie's fine. It's fine. Sort of like I can pick out a handful of Disney movies that I think are like ones that even like as a youth I really liked. Like I would say like seeing like Moana was really good. I thought that was a great one.
I've heard that one is pretty good.
Yeah, see that was like, but that's modern day, and that's like I remember
new
that.
Disney.
Yeah, it's new Disney. But there's other like older ones. Like I thought like Mulan was fine, Aladdin was fine. It was pretty good. But there's plenty of them. Like I think if I ever wanted to talk to someone about or we wanted to talk with someone about those, I think like Blaze just collects all of them. He's got like all the DVDs or Blu-rays now with them.
It's a hobby.
Well, the thing is, also his comment was, when and if I have children someday, I want to have them for them. Which is actually like a good thought pattern.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when shit will be removed from like streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't own streaming products, and they could just be pulled. Side tangent, like what happened with I think Infinity Train for HBO, where they just removed the show completely.
There's a couple others that I heard about in that entire removal. Some of was it it's one of the Cartoon Network ones. One I didn't really like, but I was like, fine, whatever. Uncle Grandpa disappeared.
Yeah,
too.
that one's gone too. You can only watch them via pirating now.
Yeah, it's like they just removed things from existence, and that was
pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
To be fair, Disney also has done this in the past with Dalton films.
Yeah. I mean, at least, like, I feel like they are like, we vaulted the film, but they also are like, we still have it and won't just delete it to the ether. Like, even their worst movies, they acknowledge exist sometimes. Well, not the racist ones.
Yeah, they don't acknowledge the Song of the South, thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, they acknowledge it, they just don't talk about it
anymore.
They acknowledge that it was a terrible thing that was made.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, these cards will probably be a lot of 90s Disney. Those are like the ones people care about.
Yeah.
I mean, on the front page said Elsa.
Well, Elsa's like the most popular Disney creature. Because Frozen was disgustingly popular, and I hate that song.
Yeah. I had a lot of it from my niece. Fortunately, she moved away from that and things that she would sing or make noise about. But I had a lot of that for a few years.
Yeah.
I technically should have a deeper discussion topic, but I hadn't decided which one of these to do.
No, I should decide it right now.
I really should. I got too few players. I mean, if I remembered my AD&D, we could talk about AD&D since we got Cell here.
God, I don't ever want to talk about AD&D. I hear it enough.
Well, look, actually, it's not brought up that often.
Talk about Fox people.
All right, here you go. here's something that I think is interesting because I know me and you, Momo, don't really do this per se as our style. But I don't know if what you do for a DM style is series or mission type adventures. Because it sounds like we kind of do them, but we don't really. We do, like, it's a mission that's related to a big mission.
Yeah.
These are, like, you going on... It would have been, like, I think, the game with Lightning, where there was no overarching story, and we would just have gone on random adventures the entire time.
There are certainly a group that is capable of those kind of things. And I have been in games like it before. I don't personally enjoy it that much. Because I feel that regardless of what your D&D game is, it cannot go on forever. And you need to have some form of plot that will have a stopping point.
I feel like it's the thing that you certainly have when it comes to these type of games. You can have, like, plot, but it's like, what's the best way of saying it? Like, an adventure path in Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got to admit, like, something like, honestly, Rise of the Rune Lords, they're sort of connected. There's sometimes something going on, but they're also very individual adventures, you know, that your people go through in order, and, like, you eventually become heroes in the last one. You can have something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you can, and it can definitely work with the right group. You can also, like, West March style games are very much that kind of adventure of the week.
Yeah.
Which, again, that can be fine, especially if a rotating group. Works out pretty well.
I think the answer... well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the question kind of becomes, how sandboxy do you want your sandbox to be?
The problem with sandboxes that I have is when it is purely a 100% sandbox where your players can go genuinely anywhere they want, you kind of will hit a point where you don't know what to prep.
Yeah.
Because I ran into this problem in the Star Wars game, which was a mild sandbox. I never knew what planet any of you wanted to go to or how long you wanted to stay on it, because you would land on a planet, do exactly one thing, and then...
I would have done more.
Yeah, but no one else likes planets, I guess.
Hey, I was never the problem in that game.
No, I know exactly who the two problems were.
Yeah. We had us two, a neutral, and then two problems.
Yeah.
I was the goodest of boys.
You were the goodest boy who deserved better.
I think...
Truly deserved a better group.
I think it ends up being that any style of sandbox game that has a possibility of work has to boil down to something like the Adventurers Guild or something, you know, where you go and look at, like, a mission board, or someone gives you, like, a couple of options for missions. Because then it's sort of like, I can have all these missions prepared ahead of time, or I can have, like, a couple, like, basic outlines of some missions and being like, which one do you want to take? Here's 3 choices. You're taking that one. I can do more work on that one then.
I can name, off the top of my head, 2 systems that are very good for the mission-based sandbox game that are not D&D.
Okay.
Star Trek Adventures, because Star Trek is an Adventure of the Week series.
Yeah.
Fallout 2D20, Fallout is comprised almost entirely of side quests.
Yeah, I can see that. It's sort of like...
Those 2, I think, work the best, and if you want to run a game like that in D&D, you have to model it off of that kind of structure rather than you all meet up at a tavern or something. You have to establish that you're like bounty hunters or explorers doing X thing. Here's X mission. Here's a place where you get your missions.
Cell, do you ever really do any kind of serialized stuff with that, with your kind of style? I know that Momo's been playing with you, but I haven't had a chance to check out your style.
I think declaring anything I have as a style would be very
It's
early to tell.
It's a lot of world building and lore being expounded at me during those games. A lot of French people, which I'm deeply uncomfortable with.
I don't even do a lot of lore. I say a couple of things and then I move on.
Look, I have to admit, sometimes I will go deep into lore about something.
Cell's style of DMing is reacting to me, Lightning, and Viking's memery.
Yeah, I do just get, memed the entire game, and I just don't know what to do half the time. The NPCs just stare at disbelief that is the response they get.
Yeah, I guess, mercs or sellswords would be another way of doing things.
Star Trek is the best example of a mission-based series, because every episode is literally different.
I guess it's sort of like, to do something mission-based, you have to give it an overall mission. Like, Star Trek, it's to explore brave new worlds, blah, 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 it's the saying. So you have that in your mind, that is your overall mission.
And for Fallout, and hey, chat, you can steal this if you want, a Fallout-style game, hey, you are settlers going into the northern territories of the NCR, which are mostly unpopulated, to establish a settlement. Bam, you establish a settlement. Your overall goal is to protect and keep the settlement safe so it grows, but your little missions are deal with bandits, clear out these mutants, salvage this building, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like some ruins were discovered. Explore them and see if there's anything useful.
That is the other objective of Star Trek if you are the captain. Specifically if you're Kirk.
Or Riker, apparently.
Yeah, or Riker. Riker is a sleazebag.
Riker just banged everything.
And if you're Worf, your objective is to appear really badass but get taken out in one punch every time.
Poor Worf. It's yeah. I feel like it's an interesting style of gameplay, and it could lend itself to having an overall villain. It could also have a simple plot or something too.
Yeah.
It could just be something like you're part of a failing guild of adventurers, and you have to earn some money back or something to pay off some debt. There you go. There's an overall plot.
Yeah. Or you could just rip off one of the Elder Scrolls games and be like, oh, you're a thief in this guild. Your thievery leads to guild getting better as you go on these random unconnected missions. Oh, hey, you tripped and you fell into a plot.
Yeah.
Then you get to steal an Elder Scroll.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then you serve a Daedric prince.
I mean, that's the amount of Daedric princes I made deals with in every Elder Scroll game. It's sort of it's like you look at your watch, you're like, are we done making this contract? I'll take the artifact of evil power and stuff, and I'll throw it in my trunk.
All I'm saying is it makes complete sense in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion to do it, because your character becomes the Prince of Madness, who is literally an insane idiot.
Yeah.
So you make all these deals and then just screw them over and go to your Shivering Isles.
In Skyrim, you're just
Skyrim, you're just dude.
Moloch Ball, I'll sacrifice people.
Mehrunes Dagon, I know you try to destroy the world, but I want that knife, dude.
I want to put it on my mantle.
Bless, give you my eternal soul to become a better thief? Yeah, I'll do that, Nocturnal.
I mean, you sell your soul to 15 different Daedric print.
Eventually, your soul is not worth that much.
I mean, who's going to collect? You're making
Akatosh.
Sure.
Yeah. You just die in Akatosh, collect your shit.
Mm-hmm. See, it's you make all the deals with the Daedric princes so that when the time comes, they fight over you and you can just slip your eternal soul out. You just leave. You're just all right, bye.
Akatosh could pluck you out because you're his chosen.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, bitches, for your stuff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, to get their stuff, you had to do some horribly evil shit.
Some of it's very funny, though.
Yeah.
The one with the orcs is really funny because you can then tell them all to fight each other till the last one remains, and then you kill the last one.
I really like the Sheogorath one in Oblivion, where you gaslight a town into thinking the world's gonna end.
Yeah.
Well,
good
I mean,
times.
it wasn't wrong if you didn't stop the Oblivion crisis.
Yes.
Also, like if you do it after the Shivering Isles DLC, your manservant sasses you about it.
This is sassy manservant. So it's great. So yeah, that the style of game it can certainly work, and it's a fun style of game, I would think.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've had some experience with it. I think the closest experience, honestly, had to have been Worm. The game he ran that I was playing as Tools felt very mission based. You know, we would be like, "Here's your job," and we're like, "Great, we'll go do that." And I think there was sort of an ongoing plot, but I don't remember the hell what that was. I just remember we went on a lot of different missions.
These types of games where you're doing missions that are mostly completely unrelated, I think they work very well when you pair them with a game purely about the growth of your character.
Yeah.
Where you're doing these little missions, but then you're also doing your character's end goal and what they want to do in the world.
That's true. Like, you know, like, if you say, like, you're part of this, what's your goal? You know, you can have a goal related to you being part of that, and, you know, that makes it that, you know, bringing that about works better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those styles of gameplay that's either done very badly or not done very often, because it's hard, I guess.
It's really hard, especially because the death of the tabletop game can come very swiftly when your players don't give a shit about what is happening in the world. And oftentimes, the easiest way to make players care is, here is plot.
Yeah, I feel like that's why you have to have some kind of reason for them.
You need to have a little bit of plot.
Yeah.
So they actually care.
Yeah. You have to have a hint of some kind of plot or something to give them a little bit of care, enough for them to hook them. And then you can send them off to God knows where to do God knows what, because it's maybe sort of tangentially related to whatever they're caring about, but enough related that they're like, I guess I should do this, you know? Ooh.
Yep.
So, I've always liked the concept of the game, but I've never tried to really run one just because of these issues, because I worry about, am I going to have a good enough plot? Is it going to be, you want it to feel sandboxy, but not, and that's a hard thing to do.
I think, in all honesty, a type of game that can work, and I'll use this as an example, Skulls and Shackles. If you take away portions of the plot and have parts, like the main part of it be resolved in the opening, you can run a pretty mission-based game that could cut out a lot of the weird chuff and eventually still get to the end goal of you fend off a Chelix invasion.
Yeah. It certainly could hit on that, you know, like you could lead to that, like, you know, you learn about that on this mission or something, and then, like, you know, you want to get involved with, you know, like, oh, you know, that sounds terrible, maybe we should, you know, get involved and try to convince the people of to unite together and fight them off or something.
An adventure path that is basically written to be like this is Carrion Crown, because fucking literally nothing is connected. You have to do all of the work to connect it.
They're just so lightly connected, I think. Like, the last two are the only two that are connected. Like,
Yep.
I gotta be honest, I could go from 1 to 5 and 6, and there's my connections.
Yeah. You technically get a connection between 1 and 4. However, it is optional to give to your players. because the bad guy, he's a necromancer boy. Upon the completion of the Harrowstone dungeon, sends you a letter and assassins you.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about
that
that.
is the first time
Because it's optional.
the players learn about the villain,
Mm-hmm.
and it is entirely optional.
Yeah, see, that's why I forgot about it, because it was optional. I didn't use that. I don't know if it would have helped, honestly.
No, that game had other problems.
It's sort of like, it's like you can go from first part to meeting with the Palatine Eye woman in the Lepidstadt.
Yeah.
And then you can just skip out to the capital.
Yeah, because the Beast, and quite honestly, about all of the Werewolf adventure is pointless and adds nothing to the overall story of Carrion Crown. Only the bit at Feldergru matters.
Yep.
In the Werewolf adventure.
4 is technically a side story.
Yeah.
The entire point of 4 is you follow, you're on the trail, but the thing is, it's sort of like you accidentally went on the wrong trail. Because there's multiple trails. The one you followed led to something else, and then you get involved there. Because again, like, the thing is, when you arrive there, you don't know it's the wrong point. So you're like, what I was looking for went here. I gotta look into it. Oh, something else is going on that seems awful. Maybe I should take care of that. Yeah. Oh, it was tangentially. Someone from the Whispering Way was meeting with someone here and had helped them out a little bit to maybe make a deal in the future that never came about.
This is very side note, but when we played Carrion Crown, I distinctly remember accidentally saying, we should go to this city, because I wasn't looking at the map, and I said the capital city's name. And it was like, no, that doesn't make sense. That's so far away from the plot. Turns out, you can, in fact, just go there, and you miss literally nothing of importance.
Unlucky.
It's the thing is that, like, certainly a series of adventures, which a lot of times an adventure plot isn't necessarily bad, like these adventure paths. But usually they do a bit to tie them together and have an overarching plot. And I think that's another version of this kind of entire thing, is the series of adventures. They don't need to be tied together, but they should be like... I feel like that entire idea that maybe your characters are on a personal quest is what would tie that together. Yeah. That they're going on a series of adventures while they're having their own personal quest.
And, like, if you're running a mission-to-mission based game, you can, like, also connect some of the missions and have a tiny little arc villain.
Yeah. And, like, honestly, you can have a lot of these little ones and then just tie all together later on. You can do with the plot. It's like, all these guys were technically working for me!
Yeah, the way you could easily tie together a disabled region dealing with all these problems is, one of the missions is to kill a bandit lord. You kill the bandit lord, you find out that this bandit lord was paid to disrupt the region. Because of it disrupting the region, it caused a lot of chaos, and the person who wanted it disrupted was the next kingdom over, and then you continue your adventure trying to deal with the problem in the next kingdom over to stop the problem here.
Yeah. It's sort of like, you don't need the big, like, overarching, huge, crazy plot, like that kind of thing. Like, you don't need it to be super epic. It can just be because your players are going to advance and the plot is going to advance. It is a difficulty, like, when you get them to that level or that end mission, that is the level of wherever the difficulty is. If you're getting them to level 20, then it probably is, some world-threatening plot.
Yeah.
If you're getting them to level, like, 8, then it's some guy who would, like, wanted to destabilize a country because he maybe wanted to kill the king and take over.
Games, I suggest heavily you look at the tiers of play for D&D and Pathfinder. Your level 1 to 4 is you're dealing with local problems. 5 to, like, 8 is regional and so on and so forth. And then 20 is you're dealing with a world threat.
Yeah. So kind of figure out that, too. Because honestly, like, how far you're going to advance and how long you want to do this campaign are a lot of questions when it comes to these type of things. Because they're going to level, they're going to gain money, they're going to gain rewards. Where do you want to go? So, I think that's an interesting way to hit up on that topic. It's a fun game concept that I have, you know, I think I've like heard of some people playing it correctly, and you know, I've had a couple games that have kind of hinted at it but never quite been a full one, and so it's sort of like one of those things. I think it can work. You just have to get to that to make it work, you know?
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to add to this entire thing, so? We've been talking.
Yeah, no, you just went on a long rant about Carrion Crown.
That happens a lot. We're very scarred by that.
You know, you talk about Carrion Crown more than I talk about Tui, right? That's all I gotta say.
Look, man,
See, it's a difference.
In the last 2 sessions of that shit.
You like Tui?
I was just...
We're scarred by Carrion Crown.
Yeah, we fucking hate Carrion
No,
Crown.
no, I'm just making a joke because
Yeah,
I get told I say it a lot, right? But how many times do you mention Carrion Crown? Like once every other day.
At least
right?
once a week.
Yeah, like
Never. We need a bumper sticker
Crown
like
well
"Never
known.
forget Carrion Crown."
I was in it for
Carrion Crown is very well known at this point.
I was in it for 2 weeks, and I was the greatest character of them all.
Dude got stabbed by a unicorn.
He got stabbed by a unicorn and then had a fairy dragon friend.
Look, I think we've joked how like you had like the best character. Out of all
you
of us.
made the most functional character and you got 2 sessions.
Well, it helps when you making a character at level 9 or whatever you were.
Yeah,
I don't remember, dude.
we were
I'm trying
around
to
like that
think
level.
about that game.
Like-
But I think mission-based games work perfectly fine. I don't think you even need a huge plot attachment.
No.
It's that the biggest thing about it is that you have to run it like it's gonna be like 2 to 3 session one-shots
Yeah.
every mission, right? Where it has to have a self-contained story that might have other attachments that have a cohesive narrative that is engaging for its time period and that has like stakes. Right. The problem is that having that consistently every week is really difficult because running a one shot's more work per session than running a long-term campaign.
Yes.
I feel like that's
unless it's a really in deep campaign, then I might be. But like, unless you're not running Critical Role. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure Matt spends like lots of time on it,
Yeah,
but most people don't.
Fucking nerd. And for Star Wars, when I ran that, I would say that was me basically planning a one-shot every goddamn session and then it being ignored.
Yeah.
I've touched on it before. Star Wars was originally going to be that kind of game, but through a combination of problems, it never became that game, and I just kind of don't like how that game turned out. It happens, you know.
You know, I can understand why you weren't as happy with it. You know, it's sort of like
I think it was a fine game, but
Yeah.
it's like I personally, as a DM, was displeased.
I will tell you, if it wasn't for Asmocon, I would have been much more unhappy with the way Records ended.
Yeah.
The idea of having like a modern day convention for summoning like the spirit of the Devil Lord.
So stupid.
It was so stupid. It was so stupid, but it worked, and I'm like,
It was so dumb. But
Sure.
It was, like, the best plan.
it's the only plan they ever had.
No, I've learned this. Is that I shouldn't let other people make plans, and we can talk about what horrific things I heard when I tuned into Children of Wrath for an hour on Thursday night. I heard some things and some plans that were really stupid.
I guess we should talk about our week in tabletop.
I can do that.
Did either of you have anything like last Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday we started a new game technically, so you can talk about.
Yeah. Everyone, we started a new game. We're mercs.
You're a merc. Technically I'm part of the military.
Yeah. I'm a wild mage.
You're a
So is
Chad.
I am Giga Chad that entertains the youths and peasantry.
You're a clown.
Use
You
and
are-
peasantry.
I spread happiness and joy.
Dude, clowns make like 50,000 a year and sells out here doing it every week for free in that game.
I'm just trying to be nice to the citizenry that's having a tough time, and then I get criticized for it. But there's some weird stuff going on in that town, but we're investigating some. I forget what, to be honest.
There's like some cultist beggars.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's not what I was worried about.
Beggars?
We're investigating something else.
It's like cultist beggars, yeah.
No, they don't beg. They don't take money.
They want freedom, I guess.
Yeah, they wanted liberation from chains, and it sounds like they're planning revolutions. And it's a little sus because, I asked them some questions, and I was like, that's kind of weird, Chambers. And they probably have my name now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that was your own fault.
Yeah, well, listen. All right, and I'm about to get attacked by ghosts.
Yeah, so then we went to help out a farmer who had suspicious noises at the edge of his farm, and we found a spooky cave, and some ghosts came out the wall. They don't like light. The sorcerer with the 6 hit die has the torch and is gonna get murdered.
I mean, I got 16 HP. I'm fine.
That's not a lot.
For level 2, that is a lot.
I'm gonna die.
I have exactly the HP a fighter would have on average if they did not have a con mod.
Oh, so if Tanthus was playing the game.
Yeah, Tanthus was playing a fighter.
No, if I was a fighter out of con. Look, if you're a sorcerer wizard, then someone always need that. Anyway, anything on a Monday or Tuesday?
Monday, no. Tuesday, yes.
How's Tuesday go?
We are doing a Stars Without Numbers game with 5 people, which in my opinion is a lot of people.
French.
Cell has ruined the game because we all, in our own independence, made furries, and Cell shows up as a French guy.
Yep, that did happen. Everyone else is a furry. I'm playing a human.
Every other player, we independently made some form of anthropomorphic animal. Cell is a French guy.
4 furries and a Frenchman. That's the sitcom you're part of. That's
the story. Yep. 4 furries and a Frenchman walk into a bar. Everyone shoots the French guy.
Yeah, we got like pretty. Like the station got attacked, so we had to flee, and I guess we saved some people.
Okay.
And then some dude got knocked on the ground, and Cell decided he had to die.
I didn't realize he was unconscious. All right.
It was really funny. Don't worry about it.
I saw a guy. I'm like, he's a threat still because we're in a hallway, so I shot him. And then afterwards, I was told, oh yeah, they were both knocked out. I'm like, they fell. I just didn't think. Oh, they fell over. I just didn't think you fall unconscious that way. But apparently, they both just hit their heads and went into comas. I just wasn't expecting that.
Ate shit and then passed out.
Yeah, it's
still a ship. Ship had like 3 people on it.
Okay.
Or something. We tried. Well, Cell tried multiple times to resolve things peacefully.
I did.
And he really gave it his all. However, this is Cell we're talking about, so he can't pull.
No, it wasn't my rolls. The enemies rolled max morale.
True, they rolled max morale. They wouldn't say.
I tried twice.
Tried twice. My plan was to knock out the guy trying to fly the ship, because I am very stealthy. However, the person who went before me decided I want to like rip his face off, and then did that and killed it.
Yeah.
Just tear his face off. Oh, man.
I told the dude he was outnumbered and outgunned, and then he said, "No, I don't care." Like alone with a gun in a room with 4 other people, and then he died.
Yep, he got horribly murdered. The other guy was a really big alien Minotaur dude, who died because of culture, because he challenged another one who was of the same alien species to a blood feud duel and lost. So he died because of culture. None of our fault.
I did try to tell him not to turn around and look, but I was trying to avoid that situation. But he looked behind him. So
then he just had to fight, and then he died.
I really tried. I tried to save lives.
Yeah, we stole the ship, and then we blew up some idiots and starfighters. And then we jump to a planet and end of the session.
Nice. Seems like a interesting adventure.
It was very chaotic. Lightning's playing a fox person.
Of course.
In that game.
I mean, expected.
I'm the weirdest one there, okay?
Yeah, you're a French dude. The weirdest person.
My name is Clovis de Merovingi the 14th, alright?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. There was a Wednesday game.
There was a Wednesday game.
We didn't have an Eric, so I mean, like...
We did battle with a phase spider.
You did.
And another phase spider.
Uh-huh.
And an additional phase spider. And a donkey monster.
I mean, 3 of them were injured already.
Yeah.
Technically, what I had done is each of them had a Cure Light's wounds basically cast on them to heal them up. They were technically potions. That's all they healed. All
I remember, and I've learned from that session, is I should just never do single summons and just summon a bunch of monsters at once. Because single summons just kind of suck.
Unfortunately, the Hound Archon did help. He gave penalties to the spiders.
It did help a lot. However, he can't fly.
Yeah.
So I might have been better off summoning flying things.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of very interesting plans. The room was fireballed, hit the fighter, cooked our good boy captain.
Yep, he was a robot at the time.
He was a soulless android.
To eventually be replaced with the real boy later on.
The soul will return eventually. We fought them. I decided I hate phase fighters and cheesed it with Murder's Command to make them fight each other on the ethereal plane.
That was a pretty good one.
I'm actually proud of myself for thinking about that one.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then you helped a man who was very crazy to be not crazy.
Helped a crazy man become not crazy.
Yeah, it was very nice.
It turned out to be worth it. And then we found a fey woman in the water and had to stop our very horny wizard from going in the water.
Yep.
Look, she won't kill him on purpose. She just sometimes, she can't control the abilities that she has.
I wanted to let it happen.
If it wasn't a player character, I would have totally let it happen.
I really wanted to let it happen. However, we are such a high level that it would be very painful to make a new
character.
Yeah. It's like I'm very chaotic neutral, meaning that would have been funny as fuck if you died.
Yep.
But we need the ship's mage. He's a useful role.
You also taught your good doctor what human resources is.
Yeah, I did. I
don't think anybody really understood that still.
You taught him what it is, and immediately there were complaints about all of the party members in the box.
Yeah, and then we have to re-explain it to Rio. That's not what the box is meant for.
It was just like small petty complaints, too. Nothing serious.
Yeah, that's how we have to start the next session. And then we gotta call you like, Rio, that's not what the HR box is for. It's for when someone does something extraordinary to bad to you.
Not small stuff.
Just the minor annoyances you caused this box. Also, you really wanted the rat the crazy guy was eating.
I thought that was hilarious. That was my favorite thing. It's like, I'm not judging. I want that.
Like, the crazy guy, he's eating something. What's he eating? A rat. Kinda want the rat.
Rat. Yummy.
Well, he's crazy, and he's been surviving on stuff his monkey could bring him. His monkey can kill small animals, and vermin, and insects probably, and maybe some fruit.
Now we have a companion that's a fighter rogue wizard. That's my next character if I die.
Such a weird multi-class.
He is the ship's mage mate now, too, apparently, too. Not because he's great at spellcasting, because he might be more knowledgeable.
He might just know things.
Yeah.
Know as much as the dwarf? No, probably not.
He's got some high skills and something or other, but
I think we just need someone to keep our ship's mage on track.
Keep Jacob from going into the water. Yeah.
That's his primary duties.
Yeah. And then I had
So I'm curious to hear what the hell happened in that session, because there are like two distinct things I heard when I was playing Disco Elysium. One, Kaz threatened to eat a child.
He did.
What was that about?
Alright,
So-
can we need...
Why did Kaz threaten to eat a Thoranian child?
So, at the end of last session, or beginning of this session, everybody got together because you had done your two respective missions, and the last thing you wanted to do was to go to the library, which is the other main place you had permission to go to. That wasn't like a public space kind of thing. So you went to the library, and while there, a kid wandered up and was like, "Are you a frog?" 'Cause, I'm sorry, they're people who live in the Arctic, under the ice. They have books and stuff that are like, here's the animals of the world. None of them have seen these things for generations.
Yeah.
And Kaz is this weird green creature.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a frog?
His first reaction was, "I will eat you," apparently.
It was. I will eat you, small child.
The other question I had.
Uh-huh.
Why did I hear, when discussing plans, kind of the words, "Well, let's go wake up another one"?
Okay. So, they reviewed a bunch of information at the library and took the information into account. And they're like, okay, we have they came up with 3 plans.
I'm very curious.
Plan number 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first plan they had. Hey, are there any other sky fortresses that might be in partial ruin that we can find, that we can study?
For fuck's sake.
I basically said, no.
Mm-hmm.
I did say there was one that was lost to history, no one knew it happened, but I wasn't going to have that one to be found.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, good plan.
Mm-hmm. All the other ones, most of them, destroyed when the capital of Thran basically blew up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
2. This was a kind of a suggestion by me, which I was like, if you want to go try this, I want to see what you do. And that is, when Thran's capital was detonated, it created an avatar. So like a being of, energy and power that is like a thing called Evra. The thing wanders around, no one ever communicates with it or knows what its purpose is, but it's basically, it's this being that's existed for 10,000 years that's like an incarnation of the destruction of the capital of the Thoranian Empire. Basically, a nuclear explosion made into a manifest creature.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe we can talk to that. And plan number 3 is, well, where's the only other source of Thoranian technology that might be similar? The moon!
Okay, so the plans are find another sky fortress and wake it up.
Uh-huh.
Do something to the moon.
Uh-huh.
Oh, or what the DM suggested, which is what I'm going to tell them to do.
Oh, they did stuff, though. More happened. So they went and talked to the Avatar.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that went as well as they thought, because they decided the way to try to communicate with it, because it's a very alien creature, was to use telepathy. And I'm like, this thing is an imprint of millions of deaths of people made manifest combined with its own intelligence. You are overwhelmed when you talk to it because it discordantly has the screams of 1 million people dying at the same time existing within it at all times.
Pretty metal.
It itself probably doesn't realize that exists within it because it's just part of its being. It also has an alien intelligence. I try to explain, like, elemental creatures that are avatars like Multani, which they all met, that's an exception. It chose to learn how to communicate with other people. Most of them don't give a flying rat's ass about these other beings.
Sounds about right.
You can't understand them. They're incarnations of stuff, like the literal Earth. This thing is a nuclear explosion. Good luck on communicating with it.
Yeah.
They had the genius idea eventually of, what do you know about the moon? Because they kept trying to convince it to do things, and it wasn't working. And you know what I had it do? Give them a teleporter to the moon. It's technically one way. But you have teleportation circle, so it's now hindered around.
I mean, yeah, I can leave.
Yeah, so
I take them with me, to be fair.
Yeah, so like no one goes to the moon because it's technically the secondary moon is a super weapon that is destroyed, but is floating in orbit, and I'm like,
real Final Fantasy shit. It
has technically probably a little bit of an atmosphere because it is small moon sized. So that's where we left off, is that they're planning on getting there and maybe back or something, and they're coming up with really stupid plans.
What I'm hearing...
I will say, they did manage to get 2 necklaces of adaptation for the 2 of you that need to breathe.
Thank God.
W?
So what I'm hearing is, if I miss a session, there's no voice of reason anymore.
No, there's not. Look, I gave the moon option, but I also then when I gave the moon option, I came up with something. It's not going to be long on the moon. There's nothing left over there.
I'm gonna guess it's a destroyed moon.
It's a destroyed, basically think about the Death Star with a hole through it.
Yeah.
It has no atmosphere.
I play Final Fantasy.
Everybody's dead that was on it, honestly. It was a place filled with white mana, so nothing raised is undead.
Yep.
There's nothing out in space to move in there. It's just destroyed. Honestly. You can find some information out there that might be helpful. I might give you a little extra if you want that, sure, for going there. But I wasn't going to make it long for going to the moon. And, asking the big old energy thing rather than trying to be lead us someplace. And I'm like, why? Why would it do that? They're really bad at asking questions to anything.
They're dumb.
They really are dumb.
They're idiots. They collectively, as characters, have more intelligence than my intelligence character. However, they don't act like they do.
They wanted to take the Thopter, which is a magical flying device made to fly within the atmosphere, and they're like, can we take this to space?
Okay. Helicopters don't work in space.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't...
There's no air for the rotors to propel themselves.
Yeah, a Thopter, maybe it's magically powered, so maybe it doesn't really need air the same way.
It's not a ship from Halo.
I'm like, I don't think there's the same kind of magic in space that would energize it, or stuff like that, and it's not going to have an atmosphere. It might not react the same way without gravity, let alone atmosphere. I'm like, no. Why would you think that would ever work? They had no great idea for going to the moon, honestly, until I gave them one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my one last question.
All right.
For this session.
Sure.
We have a literal Thoranian.
Yeah.
That travels with us.
Yep.
Did they at any point ask them questions? And 2, did they take this 16-year-old person who is actually several thousand years old? Did they take them to the walking embodiment of their people's suffering?
Yes.
Good job, guys.
They had her try to translate into Thoranian language to it.
Okay.
It didn't respond.
Just scarring this child more.
Honestly, I think it's at this point in time, it's just so disconnected from her. It's like this thing is supposed to represent the destruction of the capital of my people. It's too much to understand, which is the fortunate thing for her. But I thought about that. I'm like, this is kind of awful.
Fucked up, guys.
Yeah.
I gotta dip. I got to meet with my...
Yeah. Well, we're going to be popping off.
Yeah,
anyway.
we're wrapping up anyway.
I'll
talk about Fridays.
Yeah, alright. Then I'll switch us
Goodbye,
back to
my friends.
Yeah, see ya.
Yeah, so Friday's game, we had the aftermath of our cleric dying. Everyone, I guess, is sad or something. I'm not, because honestly, my character is an undead abomination. We met our new character in town, who's a very large and loud alcoholic werewolf man, I assume.
Ah.
Standard stuff, really.
Yeah.
We learned that all humans in the world are dicks, because not a single one of them has been nice to us. We learned that all blood hunters are dicks, because not a single one has been nice to us, including me, who is a blood hunter. And everyone in this world is apparently just miserable.
Wow.
Everyone's a dick, I guess.
A dick or miserable. That's
A dick or miserable.
not great choices. I mean, I gotta be honest.
Yeah. We helped the noble dude out. We might get some kind of reward for that. Went on a boat to a castle filled with werewolf people. They're dicks, and told us to go talk to the leader who's somewhere else.
Ah.
We didn't really do a lot that session. The party found out that my character is an Azamar, not a human. And I found out that I have in my possession a fragment of my own soul. So I gotta figure out what the hell I'm doing with that.
That'd be probably a good thing to figure out what you're doing with.
And we learned Lightning's character cares not for history of the world. Because Lightning's character was told a bunch of history about the region, and the response was, okay. Which apparently Cell was not prepared for. And it caused Cell to shut down for like 5 minutes.
It's like, oh, okay.
Cell is often not prepared for us, for the three of us, me, Lightning, and Viking, to just be incredibly memey.
I mean, it takes a lot of adaptation to be ready for the madness.
Yeah.
Look, dealing with the games I've dealt with now has taught me a lot.
Cell has made the mistake of putting me in a game with Lightning, where I'll always act like a dumbass. One, because I love the reactions Cell has in his disappointment, so I like causing him to have them because I find it funny. I imagine it's a bit like why Kaz or why Fish suggests all these really stupid things to you during Children of Wrath, because it is kind of funny to see you react. However, Children of Wrath has gone on for 2 years, whereas this game has gone on for 5 sessions.
Look, I don't react anymore. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, you've stopped reacting.
Like, that stuff happens, great. That's my entire thing, is like, well, you made a decision, stuff happens, great.
Alright, you brought back a dragon. Good job, guys. We did it.
Look, I'm saving a couple of things for an aftermath, like an elder that was reborn long ago as a nigh immortal human, who's probably very angry about you waking up his very dead wife and resurrecting her as a gigantic robot death machine.
I mean, that's not my fault. I'm a victim. I'm not gonna be there when that happens. I'm gonna be with my wife.
Yeah.
This is Kaz's problem.
Maybe hanging out with Slarvad, you know?
Yeah, I might. Slarvad is a cool dude. I'm gonna hire Slarvad to kill Kazman.
You are my brother! How dare you do this? We were siblings! You've walked down the wrong path, brother! Yeah. But,
yep. That's Friday game. It's a lot of me and Lightning messing with stuff.
Honestly, because we could have very easily started going in the end game, I kind of pushed it off a little bit on this session.
That's fair.
So it's like, you know.
I should be around for the next session. You know what happened.
Yep.
And why I needed the day off.
It was very interesting, or well, terrible, I should say, to hear that you weren't the only one that something happened to. Blaze, something happened to too. I heard from that, and I was like, oh, good, thanks, great to hear on that one. You know.
Yeah. The hour of Children of Wrath I watched was a good distraction before I got so tired that I was like, I need to sleep.
Yeah. us get going for today. I will send a thank out to Cell for joining us for when they could. I'll send a thank out to you, Momo, for popping in here at the last bit here to talk about the Disney thing in a little bit more. Should be back on Monday. There's some stuff I should be planning, but I'll work on that later.
That ain't gross. I don't do that.
Well, I have this thing going on next Saturday where I'm like, I was maybe thinking of doing something for it because, it's an event or something. I don't know. It's one of the 3 events that will be going on this season. And
to the Pokemon?
No, it's, time will march on for me.
Ah.
And I was thinking of maybe doing something for part of that day or something, or organizing something, but I have a bunch of ideas of like what I'd want to do, but I don't know what I'd want to do. Is the problem.
No, I understand. That one's fair, yeah.
So I'll figure it out. Maybe come up with a list and work it down. Maybe in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
As for an event, and there's other stuff because I want to like plan IRL stuff around that kind of event, and I talked to my one friend who also their time of growing older is just a few weeks afterwards, and they were like, hey, do we want to like do something kind of in the middle between us, and just do a joint thing because we're it's hard to gather the cats together for also being together at one point in time. I don't know, plenty of stuff, but for myself, I'll be back probably Monday or something. I don't know yet. I'll figure it out over the weekend, and then I guess that's it. I guess you'll be joining for stuff next week.
I'll be here for games next week, and I should be back for the full show of Discussing Tabletop.
Probably maybe normal timing, maybe different timing. I'm gonna see what's going on.
Yeah.
It was okay being a little later, but like I got some things still to do because honestly, the problem with today was there was no cars. There really wasn't one. My brother was using his, and my dad's is not reliable and that's why he doesn't use it very often. And he was using mine because he had some traveling to do, and my mom had work, so there was no vehicles around. I couldn't go do the things I needed to do, so I might have to go do them like now at like 7:00 at night.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah. So anyway, gonna get going. Bye, everybody.
Bye.